I'll present a case of hypertrophic cardiomyopathy presenting with restrictive physiology and myocardial infarction. The index case is a 4-year-old boy who presented with recurrent vomitings and anorexia for 6 months, and after evaluation was diagnosed as restrictive cardiomyopathy. The 2D echocardiography showed biatrial enlargement with small size both ventricles with trivial tricuspid regurgitation and trivial mitral regurgitation. This was the baseline ECG, which showed sinus rhythm with right atrial enlargement and left atrial enlargement with 1 mm of ST elevation in the AVR with ST depressions in 1, 2 AVF along with V4, V5, V6. The child presented with episodic diaphoresis and lethargy since past 1 week. He had 4 to 5 episodes during the past week. The episode used to last around 30 minutes. And child becomes asymptomatic after the episode. And this was the presentation to hospital during one of the episodes where he had a marked ST elevation of around 6 mm in the AVR with global STT depressions in rest of the leads. And the trop T is elevated around 150 picogram per ml and proBNP was elevated, which was 17,100 picogram per ml. And 30 minutes after the episode, the child symptoms resolved with resolving ST elevation in the AVR along with ST depressions in rest of the leads. And echocardiogram during the episode showed moderate mitral regurgitation. And as the symptoms resolved and the ECG changes resolved, the echo revealed resolution of the mitral regurgitation, which was only trivial afterwards. Parasternal short axis view at the baseline showing there was no RWMA in any of the segments with mild pericardial effusion. However, during the event, there was hypokinesia inferior and infralateral segments in the basal region. The child was started on enoxaparin along with ecosprin initially, and pyronam was added as the TSS was borderline, which was 9.8. And he was also started on diuretics, Lasix, and aldactone. Though initially the child was started on bisoprolol, as the ECG findings were suggestive of left main, which could be due to coronary spasm, so beta blockers were withheld later. As the episodes recurred, he was later started on clopidogrel and nicorandil. And as and when the episodes recurred, NTG infusion was used during the episodes to alleviate his symptoms. Cardiac MRI showed biatrial enlargement with biventricular systolic function, and there was delayed diffuse subendocardial enhancement of the left ventricle, suggestive of global subendocardial ischemia, and there was minimal pericardial effusion. In view of the recurrent nature of the episodes, the child was taken up for cath and coronary angiogram. The cath data showed the SVC and IVC saturations were reduced, which was 51% and 51%, suggestive of low cardiac output, and there was basal hypoxia with aortic saturation of around 90. The left ventricular end diastolic pressure was elevated, which was 45, and LVED pulmonary wedge was elevated, which was 30. The pulmonary artery pressure was 40, suggestive of moderate pulmonary arterial hypertension. Right ventricular end diastolic pressure also was elevated, and systemic venous pressure was around 22. The cath data was consistent with restrictive physiology, and there was no interventricular interdependence in the cath study. Coronary angiogram showed normal left main, normal LCX, and normal LAD. And right coronary artery was also normal. However, the child continued to have recurrent episodes of ischemia, and he had VT during one of the episodes, and he could not be revived and was declared dead. Genetic testing obtained later showed that child was homozygous for MYL3 gene mutation, which is usually associated with familial hypertrophic cardiomyopathy 8. Autopsy was performed on the child, and grossly, the heart weight was increased for body weight. However, the right and left atrium were enlarged. The thickness of the right ventricle, left ventricle, and interventricular septum was normal. And gross inspection, we can appreciate discoloration of the inner half of the myocardium of the left ventricles. And also papillary muscle necrosis can be appreciated. There are areas of myocardial infarction involving the right ventricle as well. On microscopic examination, there was myocyte disarray affecting large portion of the myocardium of the left ventricle. There was myocyte disarray along with the hypertrophy and nuclear enlargement. There was interstitial fibrosis as seen here, along with some areas of myocardial bridging, and there was medial hypertrophy of the intramural arterioles. All the features were consistent with hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. And on cut section, as we appreciate in the gross section, there was subendocardial ischemic necrosis changes. The same can be appreciated on the microscopic examination, where the inner half of the myocardium showed coagulative necrosis, and the corresponding areas showed neutrophilic infiltration consistent with myocardial infarction. And these changes were also present in the papillary muscles. The same features of myocyte disarray and hypertrophy and interstitial fibrosis and focal areas of necrosis with neutrophilic infiltration were also seen in the right ventricle as well. The coronary arteries LAD, LCX, and right coronary artery were unremarkable, and they were normal. And the autopsy findings of the other organs were also normal. And the lung showed pulmonary autopsy findings of pulmonary venous congestion along with changes of pulmonary artery hypertension. And the rest of the organs were normal on autopsy. So a final diagnosis of hypertrophic cardiomyopathy with MYL3 sarcomere gene mutation was made, with phenotypic expression of advanced restrictive physiology, with recurrent myocardial infarction with episodes of recurrent moderate ischemia with normal epicardial coronary arteries. And the child had heart failure with moderate pulmonary hypertension, and child succumbed to sudden cardiac death, probably due to ventricular arrhythmia. Thank you.
Over to the judges.